Good morning. Leave out the L. Just Raf. Raf is fine.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm telling you, I don't know how many times we've spoken, Raf. Quite a few too many. But I'm looking at my script now, and it says Ralph, and then your surname is also spelt Honegstein,
Yes.
which I'm pretty sure that's wrong as well, isn't it?
Honig. Yeah.
For God's sake. So look, you'll have to forgive me. It's very early.
At least we've got the right person, Rav. At least we've got the right person.
Exactly. It's me.
Did you call him Rav?
No, I did not. Can I ask you to get things moving this morning, if I may, in terms of Nagelsmann? Is this one of these scenarios? Clearly, he's wanted top coach, whether it was Real Madrid or Spurs. Is this something that would crazily suit Bayern Munich now, because they wouldn't have to pay him off, or certainly wouldn't have to pay him to the degree that he might if he just sits in gardening leave?
Absolutely. They think that he's not going to be snapped up fairly soon, that there's no point having a big payoff for him in view of a contract that would have run for another 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Because he signed a 5-year deal. So they're just waiting. They're thinking that he's not going to be sitting around forever. He's still very young, very ambitious. He doesn't want to stop now. And that's why they've done that, hoping that somebody will come in before too long and snap him up, as you said.
Ralph, can you give us a little example of the ins and outs of gardening leave and what it stops him from doing? I imagine he can talk to whoever he wants. It's just for the immediate future that he just has to sit.
Yeah, that's it. Unfortunately, I've never been personally on gardening leave, so I can't give you the real ins and outs. But in his case, he can, of course, do whatever he wants. There's no tapping up or anything. Even if there was, Bayern wouldn't dream of enforcing it, because they're the first club to talk to players who are still under contract. So everyone's very realistic and pragmatic about the situation. Of course, his representative is listening to offers. But as you said earlier, before I came on, he is, from what I've heard, really just at the moment thinking, do I want to start straight away? Do I want to take a bit of time out, reflect? Because it should have been the perfect match, really. He's a Bavarian, born not far from Munich. He used to be a Bayern fan, sleeping in Bayern bed linen as a kid. Mm-hmm. And he is the best young German manager. And unfortunately, the combination didn't work out as planned. And because he's a very smart guy, I think he wants to figure out what he perhaps could have done differently before he jumps straight into the next adventure. Having said that, I think the time that he would have now, with the new season starting in, I guess June for a new manager, is maybe just enough to do that. So you can see why he'd be tempted, even though if his instinct is to say, I just want to have some downtime.
Ralph, can I ask you, I mean, as you said there, excellent coach, great future ahead of him. The obvious question would be, as I keep saying, if reports are right, and we believe they are right, whether it's Real Madrid or Spurs, why did it not work out at Bayern Munich? I mean, there's rumours of stories getting leaked. I know there was stories about his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend now working for the newspaper Die Bild, and the players, some of the stories weren't happy with the, perhaps one or two stories coming out of the dressing room. But why did it not work?
I think we have to separate two things. First of all, I think he is a very outspoken character. He likes to dress quite extrovertly. He likes to drive sometimes a motorcycle. He came with a skateboard to the training ground. And none of these things really matter, but they do matter when you feel that maybe he's lacking a little bit of authority and clarity in leadership. At times, you had the feeling that he wants to be the player's best friend or the older brother, rather than a real figure of authority. And this is the dressing room that craves authority. For them, even Carlo Ancelotti was too lax. He didn't do enough by way of input and leadership. He was too hands-off. It didn't work for them. So that was a bit of a mismatch to begin with. Tactically, he had fantastic ideas, somebody who really understands the game at a very deep level, I think close to Tuchel, close to Guardiola. But he also had because perhaps this was his big job, he had a tendency to do a little bit too much, trying to change too much, try to change during the game too much. And the team, they liked him and they listened, but there was a moment, and this happened every season, or the 2 seasons he was in charge, at different spells in those seasons, where you could see that they lost a little bit of faith, and then it didn't quite click. They had these spells where they performed really badly, and then they would change things, and then things would go up again. So that consistency that you perhaps have from a more experienced manager who knows the system, who doesn't second guess himself, who understands how to also emotionally get his players to buy into him and into a system, there was never quite 100% perfect alignment between the two of them. And look, another club might have said, okay, he's won the league last year. He's still got a chance to win all titles this year. Let's just see what happens. But Bayern don't work like that. If they feel that we might not win this year, they will make the change, especially when Tuchel was available. So he's also the victim, if you will, of these absurdly high expectations that Bayern have of themselves.
Yeah. Raf, tell me a bit about what's going on with Thomas Tuchel at the moment. The papers over here are reporting he wants Anthony Barry out of Chelsea. Chelsea aren't happy about that. The Times are reporting this morning he wants Mason Mount as well. What are the German press saying about it all?
Well, Anthony Barry is true. He went on the record saying that he wants to take him, and I think Chelsea hadn't heard of that at that point, so they weren't very happy that they learned it from the press conference. But Bayern have made an approach. They're talking. I think there's still some things to figure out when it comes to maybe a compensation, etc. Mason Mount, I'd be surprised personally if Tuchel, having been in the job for 48 hours, has gone to Bayern and said, I want Mason Mount next season. He might like the player. He might have done something privately to encourage the view that Mason Mount might get an offer from Bayern. But knowing how Tuchel works, it's the last thing he would have done now, asking for a player for the summer already. So I would take that with a grain of salt personally. Bayern also have possibly too many players in attacking midfield situations or positions. You've seen that Sadio Mane is really struggling, especially since coming back from injury. And I think Tuchel will have to take a very clear-eyed view of the situation. And I don't think he's going to make any recommendations to the board, having not even met half of the players because they're still with international duty. I think we trained with 5 first-team players yesterday, and he won't have many more today. So I think that story is convenient for some people.
For the player, you think it's an agent leak?
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to be linked with Bayern. And I'm sure Tuchel loves him, but I don't think that the Bayern offer will be in the post anytime soon.
Okay. Raf, thank you.
Thanks very much,
Thank
mate.
you so much for coming on. Really appreciate your time. Hope to speak to you again very soon as well. Raf Honigstein there, German football expert. Loads going on in the world of German football at the moment, isn't there? So much movement. How does it affect the Premier League? How will it affect Mason Mount? Is Raf right? Is that one of those things where, you know, those stories come out and you think, is this an agent leak? Is this someone that's kind of edging for a move or trying to make another team a little bit envious? I'm not sure. We obviously will keep our eyes on that. Chelsea fans, though, how do you feel? Because reports in the press the last couple of days are that in the summer you're facing a bit of a clear out, a lot of players, a lot of money spent as well. How would you feel if you lost Mason Mount, one of your own?
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.